turning them to furnitures, and so on and so on, wood and all that.
Yes, harmful wood practices. Yes,
all of these, the very, very harsh aspects of our culture, majorly affect the woman and the girl child, and nobody is in a hurry to want to change it. But thank goodness for some men who are beginning to join, forces with the women to fight against some of these very harsh aspects of our tradition. Having said that, you see, when you talk about change, you're thinking positive change, right?
Yes.
It is human nature to have someone you look up to, whether you call the person your mentor, somebody that is worthy of being emulated. How many of such do we have? Are you getting it? I will always run back to the government because they are the ones that are leading us, so they must lead by example.
Okay.
Now you are looking at people coming out and stealing and
embezzling public funds
and feeling very normal about it. You hear that a particular person embezzled such a humongous amount of money, and eventually maybe they were taken to court and justice was served, and they were meant to spend a particular stretch of years behind bars. Before you know it, they will get presidential pardon
and they leave.
They will give an excuse as regards their health failing and all that, and before you know it, they are let off the hook. So what example are they laying? Are you getting it? How does a child who is following the trend understands that if I steal, if I take what is not mine, I'm going to get punished for it? Because he will tell you, it is only, somebody steals your 10,000 naira, he will tell you it is only 10,000 naira. After all, somebody stole so millions of naira.
Just like the same way people will say when they borrow money from you and you don't want to pay back, you now hear things like even Nigeria they owe.
Do you understand? So we have not set the right examples for those who are looking up to us. So that in itself will affect positive change. So what I would advise is that parents, you are the parents to your children. So if you make the right example, your children might probably not always look up to those who will mislead them, but rather they will look up to you as a parent. But if as a parent that right, example, you are not, your child, if they tell you, if they ask your child that, okay, who is your favorite person or who is your mentor when it comes to good behavior or doing the right thing, they are not quick to mention your name as a parent. That is worrisome. That tells that you have not made the right example. So a lot of times you see that in the community, those who are supposed to be our leaders are not doing the right thing. So it sends down a very wrong message down the line to the least.
Okay. You
have a community where maybe as an Oba, you are in because you have money, probably you are in a habit of snatching other people's wives. Because you have the money and no one can call you to order because you are the paramount organ of that community. What makes you think your subordinate wouldn't do likewise? So how much of good examples are we showing to those who look up to us? It's very important. You are a school owner, and in the presence of your students or your pupils, you are displaying high level of your responsibility. Then you go into the classroom and begin to tell them how to learn, how to do this. It's like you are kicking against yourself. You are whatever it is you are doing is working at cross purposes. You're unstable. Today you are lukewarm, tomorrow you are cold, next tomorrow you are very hot. When you are not a very unstable person, there is nothing worthy to be emulated about you. So, and that is the problem we have in Nigeria. You don't really have many people to look up to. If you look at leaders from every angle, whether it is religious, whether it is in government, whether it is in, look at it, even in organizations. A boss is embezzling money, is changing, is adding an extra zero to the voucher document or something, the payment voucher, you understand? And the clerk is seeing this. So what do you think the clerk will do but the clerk has the opportunity. So as often as we don't lay the right examples for those who look up to us to follow, we will always be right. Thank you.
Sorry, I want to just add something which in line with what she's saying, the change, positive change. I was coming this morning and I was alarmed and I said I was going to mention it. It involves women, it involves children, it involves positive change, especially when you talk about Okada riders.
Okay.
Every morning I see Okada riders packing 4 children on a bike. Children on a bike. This should stop. It should stop because any little thing, it's catastrophe. Children have been so killed in this period. We don't need more. We don't need more. So this is an alarm. I'm sending an alarm to parents, to mothers, to women. Don't pack 4 children, infants, small children.
Small children.
Sometimes they are 5. They are on a bike. And it's scary to see. Please, women and maybe Okada riders, the Okada Association riders, please, these things should not be. If it is about poverty, maybe they don't have the money to pay. Let us help and pay. Anytime I enter a vehicle, a bus, I always pay for a child. Let's do this for the next generation. Their safety is at risk. I see it all the time, and it has become a norm. 5, not just maybe 1 or 2, 5. All of them stuck to the it's so scary.
They sandwich the Okada rider.
Yes. And the mother, sometimes the mother is there, sometimes the mothers are not there, but it's
really just That's just I experienced at Ibafo.
Okay.
I was right under the pedestrian bridge.
Okay. Yeah.
I was with a friend. We were going somewhere, so we were trying to find out how we could get to that place and all that. She had a baby on her back.
Yes.
And she had 3 other children.
Wow.
The oldest amongst those children couldn't be up to 12 years old. And this one was right in the middle by the road median, waiting to cross to the other side with all of those children. All those children, and she was just there. I was looking at her. I said, I will wait. When this one comes, I'm going to slap her. No, I wouldn't do that. That is not like how it's inside of you understand? I said, this woman needs to be spanked. My friend said, don't worry, let her cross. Try it. She will beat you. But when she crossed to the other side, I called her and said, Madam, good morning. She said, good morning, ma. I said, why did you do that? You stood right under the pedestrian bridge.
You couldn't climb.
Why didn't you? What? Firstly, you put your life and the lives of your children at risk. Secondly, if you cannot always go with them to school, we have told them that they shouldn't take the pedestrian bridge. They should always run across the busy highway.
Yes, that's what you've told them.
Understand? And then tomorrow something happens, we begin to look for village people. When we are the real ones, yes.
Talking about children and Okada, it's so bad that some parents parcel their children to school.
Yes, they have like bike men.
Yes, they have bike men that come to pick the children.
I don't advocate that. They should look for schools that are near.
I think the school proprietresses and proprietors should discourage such acts. So if you are not bringing your parent with the bike, your child rather, with the bike person or whoever is bringing, not even a house help, the child should be sent back home. Because if anything happens between delivery and leaving home, it will be a problem of the school. I really care that word delivery. It's not. That is what it is. Delivery.
You deliver a package.
Yeah, you deliver a package.
So when you turn your children,
to
various sizes of packages,
and tell the bike man take
safety is key. The child has to be alive to go to school in the first place. So safety is paramount.
We are seriously not security conscious. That is one thing that we lack, and we lack it so heavily. You see people like the one I just narrated. You see, like you guys have said, and even you see school children. They run across the highway. I was at Arepo bus stop, and I saw these 2 girls. They were crossing to the other side. Probably they were going to Lagos or something, and they were so casual on the highway. I told myself, even though they're not born you. You should see the way I run. You will ask me, what did they pursue? And I was so very casual. The girl had hardly met the express, and the car sped past her. You understand? With just, she was just by whiskers. You understand? And I told myself, is this that she's the blue guy for highway? I think the blue guy for highway. I don't
understand what you're doing.
Well, we'll come back to this conversation because I have a whole lot to say on this particular one. It's 27 minutes to 10 on Women Radio, WFM 91.7, and this is Panorama. Panorama is where we have the ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues. My name is Esther Larabi, and I've been speaking with Ibnabo Dixon, Adenike Quadri, and Barrister Patricia Ezechi. This is Panorama.
They keep wondering, say I'm sometimes to slow me down, but I'm a target. Every expectation, that's the heat. My success to between me. I'm on the one for this cross. No more than you told you. I'm just something wrong.
You need money, rent money, business money, rent money, school fees money, rent money, anything money, rent money, house rent money. Want to invest your money? Rent money, anything money, rent money. For personal or business loans or to earn great interest on your savings, visit rainmoney.com or call 0700 5500. Need money, rent money.
Orthodontist, which are cavities and has Colgate protect my teeth from cavities. Does this use cold food?
No, dear. Most tooth pains are caused by tooth holes called cavities. When you brush daily with Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection, its expert formula blocks natural calcium in our teeth and helps protect them from cavities.
It's time to upgrade to the world's most stressing toothpaste, Colgate, because Colgate locks calcium in.
Colgate is recommended by the Nigerian Dental Association.
Radio Doctor on WFM 91.7 every Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. brings you medical experts specialized in women's health.
If you're a 28-day cycle person, just come forward on your day 14. You won't ovulate.
Call in to get free consultation on women's health on 07000 917 917 and 090 256 25455. You can send in questions, cases, and related contributions on social media. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at WFM917. Text and WhatsApp to 070-317-56537. You can listen live online on www.wfm917.com. Radio Doctor, Nigeria's first free consultation radio health program on WFM 91.7.
WFM 91.7.
It is 23 minutes to 10 on Women Radio, WFM 91.7, and this is still Panorama on Women Radio. Panorama is where we have the ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues. And on Panorama today, I have Ibnabo Dixon, Adenike Quadri, and Patricia Ezechi. My name is Esther Alaribi, and yes, we have been looking at topical issues affecting us as a society. Now, when we get to mention about students, the phone lines are open if you would like to make any contributions. 07000 Yes, I remember sometime in 2018, I was on my way somewhere and I had to use like a commercial vehicle. And I saw these children, they all looked, what even caught me was the fact that they all looked alike. So you could tell that they were from the same parent. So these children, about 4 of them, they paid for 2 seats and the others were trying to like carry the other ones. So I had to speak to them. What happened? They said their mommy did not give them money for, the way children will talk. My mommy did not give me money for transport and my friend gave me money, but the money can only cover for 2. So apparently they were supposed to trek from their school back home, and the distance at which those children would have trekked if they had not gotten that money from this, I don't even know who the friend is. I was just wondering, like, how would you expose children to such harm? I had to pay for their transportation and also give them extra money, because I was just wondering, like, 4 children from the same parents, and you put all of these children on the road with no means of getting home. So if this friend had not given them any money, they probably would have to train the school to their house. And this brings me back to the conversation around why we do not have a secondary school in Arepo. So there are private schools in Arepo. Well, fingers are not equal. What's my 5,000 naira? What is 5,000 naira to me might look like a whole lot of money to you. When the cost is relative, yes, some people are affordable. When you bring the affordable to me, I might be like, what's happen? What's there inside them? So they are different. But not having a secondary school in Arepo that caters for children that live in Arepo. So what it means is that these children have to go to other places like Wawa, go to Magburu and other places. At the end of the day, for a poor struggling mother or parents who don't have enough money to send these children to school comfortably, it means if they can just do the basics, just getting the school uniform and just buy a few books for them every morning, so just find your way to school. I've set the legacy for you. Just find your way, Nabo.
It's unfortunate, and the reasons given were not tenable.
Okay.
Because one of the reasons was that there was no land. So at a particular meeting, I suggested to them that, look, you have a primary school.
Mm-hmm.
You can bring down one of the buildings and raise it up to maybe 2 floors. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Which would accommodate more students. Do like that. So you can have a secondary school and a primary school in the same compound. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because non-availability of land is a problem, then we should improvise. We should do something. We should be creative. It is very dangerous for you see a child in primary school, maybe 10, 11, 12, max 15. After primary school, then you start jumping the express highway to go to secondary school. And also your parent or your guardian begin to look for money to pay for your transport fare
every single day.
So by the time you pay for your tea fare, you pay for your lunch. I mean, who wants to buy books?
See,
that is why most of them, they don't have textbooks. They majorly have maybe their exercise book, but no textbook, because the parents will tell you, before I go pay transportation, don't give money for food.
And you actually cannot blame this parent.
Do you understand?
You can't blame them.
With such an economy that is so fragile, people are doing everything and all things possible to make ends meet. So I just hope that the governor of Ogun State will look into that, and let's leave the excuse of no land out of that. Bring down one of the buildings and then raise it up. That is the essence of managing small spaces or limited availability of land. You raise the building up so that it would accommodate more pupils. Then you can have secondary school, junior and senior secondary school. You don't necessarily have to have DSS1 A, B to Z. Even if it is DSS1 to C, SS1 to C. I mean, it should suffice. In the meantime, you understand. So I'm very hopeful that the governor is going to look into that. Because top don't enter in here now. You understand. So I'm hopeful that it will be brought to bear.
All right.
I think I want to add something to that. I always believe in taking personal responsibility. I'm not the type that always wants to wait for government to do anything. Sometimes we have to show government the way, because obviously they don't even know. From the way they are acting, they don't even know the way they are waiting for us well-meaning individuals to show them. Why can't we all come together and do something about these children? Why can't we provide free school buses for these children? You mentioned something about paying, which is what I do all the time. I enter a bus, I make sure I pay for a child. It's just like 100 naira or 50 naira to just ensure safety. Let's work for ourselves. It takes a child. It takes a village. It takes a village to raise a child, and that child, the actions of that child tomorrow will affect each and every one of us.
Do we still have buses that take 15 naira to wear?
No, okay. I think there are buses that go from Arepo to Marlborough, like 15 naira.
15 naira. Are you sure, Patricia?
Yes. I think yes. A word of mine comes to Arepo from Marlborough, and he pays 15 naira to come here.
Maybe they're just collecting that money
because it's a child. Okay, so 100 naira. But I think that we should. I belong to a group that tries to do that, tries to help children. And because we know that the parents cannot afford it. I don't know. Some parents are paying 3 million for their children's school fees, and there are children out there who are constantly being exposed to risk. We talked about they are all stuck up on one Okada. We talk about, you see, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years walking on the road, and they're walking all the way home, all by themselves. They have angels, don't leave that keep them, because let's come in and do something, and then let's show the government the way.
So we as people now are showing the government the way.
Yes.
You are not doing it. You are the one that is going through it. So if like for Aleppo, for what I've been able to gather, they are beginning to, acquaint the government with what the things that are needed in Aleppo. Okay. And I hope that the government would, be good enough to supply all of these needs, because they are basic amenities, they are basic needs. Like secondary school, the pedestrian bridge for Aleppo, because people.
It's very important.
Certainly, people have been hit by vehicles on this, within this axis, because you tell yourself, if I want to cross to the other side to go to Beja, do I now have to go all the way to Marlborough, or go through the Punch underpass? You understand? It's a stretch, so they would rather just cross the road. You understand? And it is risky. Sometimes the number of minutes you spend waiting for the move of traffic to turn down a little, to go down a little before you jump.
And then when we talk about Nigerians being nice people, yes, you have some people who would intentionally just wait for you to pass. But some people, see, if you like stand and you start being, hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm okay.
All right, good morning. Leo from Lagos Ibadan Expressway.
It can fall apart, and you cannot understand anything. It is in this Lagos, but actually where we are now, there's no secondary school here. Every month they will go to that for secondary school, which is where there are thousands of students today. And then the communities are not working. Apart from the government, communities are not working. Even local government are not functioning. Everything is just on fire that day. There's no need that there's nothing up. Even in my village, where I came from another state, I could learn that they provide they provide electricity for themselves before the even government to do to put out. For this, people are not working. Everything is just, maybe they are waiting for government to do everything. But even the government are not doing anything.
All right, thank you very much, Leo. So Leo now is saying that in Ashishi they are also expressing the same thing, and that we need to do for ourselves what we need to do for ourselves. Now, Adinike, so there's this thing when people say that, well-meaning Nigerians, people who have the means to come out and do stuff. I've heard somebody say something before that it's just people being entitled to their money. Oh yes, Mr. Moneyman. Yes, I totally want to, on one side, say, why are you asking people to come and spend their money to do stuff? But if you have the means, there are certain things that you go out on the street, when you see this, your belly would you just feel a certain way and just wish that you actually had the means to do this thing. But the people who have the means, they find it very hard to do. Well, my opinion to that is that it's just the simple saying from the scriptures that where your treasure is, there will your heart be. So if it's not something that you're passionate about, you likely wouldn't invest in it. But if everybody has unfortunate that sometimes, just like what Yoruba people will say, that the person that has head does not have cap, and the one that has okay. Why are you so passionate about these things? That you might not have the means. You might not have the means, and some people have the means, but they're not just interested. Passion, they are not interested. Not because they are bad people, but really it means it's not what is driving them. Maybe something else they will probably invest. If everybody's selective of what they want to invest in, I really don't know what we're going to do or be as a society. Nigeria has driven everybody to that point. Let's go back to the drawing board.
I think that we should not allow things or circumstances around us to stop us from showing a little kindness. Every one of us deserves a little kindness, especially children. Our heart goes out to children on a daily basis. Like I mentioned before, children seems to be the target. In the US, here, children are being killed. We need to have hearts for these young ones. They are our generation tomorrow. If we don't take good care of them, what kind of future are we going to see? Today, you might be helping somebody's child. Tomorrow, it's your child that will be helped. So it's a collective effort. It's not something that, I'm not interested in. We need to work together and make sure that we have a beautiful society.
There's something that those we refer to as money bags should understand, and that is, if you don't take care of that poor boy, that poor girl around you,
try to come and steal from you.
You are not safe because you are indirectly breeding a set of criminals.
Yes.
Because when you live such a hard knock life, it hardens your heart.
Yes.
It takes away your compassion. It takes away a lot of things from you.
Yes.
That when you see somebody else hurting, it doesn't mean. I remember there was a particular story of a young boy, a young one rather. All of these IDP camp, members. He said he went into banditry and he became repentant. He said what happened to him was he would stand by the roadside and beg people to help. And nobody would help him. Some other ones, sometimes if there is traffic light on red
and you have to wait,
he would just quickly go to any vehicle and beg. The way they would, with their glass rolled up, the way they would, like waving away, that kind of thing. He said, he now asked himself, do they have two heads? Is it because they have an ego? So on a particular day, he met with some guys who introduced him to small arms. And that was how he went into banditry. He joined them and started attacking people and robbing them. And he said the first time he did it, he could not sleep. And he complained to the people that he wouldn't want to do it again. This and that. They started telling him how people were denigrating him, like treating him like a piece of rags. You teach them a lesson, they will never pay you attention until they see you carry a gun. And that was a message he went about. You understand? So sometimes a little kindness, shine your light for somebody to see. Like sometimes when we are transiting to the new year, I used to attend a particular church. When it is exactly 12 midnight, they will put out every light and then you light your candle. It's a message. It's a message. So the fact that your candle is lit and somebody wants to take from you does not quench your own light. So people should understand that. Then you go to a supermarket, some people, you look at these ones. They don't have, they're not going from one eye to the other with their eyes, wide open. And when you're buying yours, they're looking like, should I grab? You understand? And you are there running the trolley with your children, picking everything. There was a time, sorry for taking your time, there was a time I was in a big, at a Keja, well-dressed gentleman walked up to me. But I was like, what's happening? We're in a public place, so you can't do anything.
Okay.
So he told me, he said, Madam, please, could you please help me? I have 2 little children at home. They haven't had anything except water. And I thought to myself, I didn't even carry my card that could.
Okay.
And I didn't even have my phone that could do transfer. I just carried, I was deliberately trying to cut.
Just manage yourself.
I had to pick 1 or 2 things for him. And I told him, it is well. Please, this is all I could afford. You understand? So there are people like that. Sometimes they look nice.
Yes,
They look
but a lot going on inside.
There's no money, no food for that money, no breakfast, no lunch.
Belle no be show glass.
I think a lot of people don't want to do that because they feel that they are fake. But that is not the reason not to show kindness. I always say the fact that maybe you think the person is freeing you or the person, there are a lot of fake people around, it's not the reason not to show a little kindness. And then this idea about don't give them fish, teach them how to fish doesn't work. It doesn't work. Give them fish and teach them how to fish. Do both at the same time. I think that's what in the Bible what Jesus was doing. He was giving them fish and he was also teaching them how to fish. This don't give them fish is just people being mean, honestly. Because people have to eat to hear what you have to train them. They have to eat, they have to be okay, they have to be happy. So we have to do all at the same time.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. And I'm going to wrap up by saying Belle no be show glass because it's somebody looking all beautiful, looking nice. You just assume that everything is going well with the person. No, it cannot be. So reach out to whoever you can reach out. Be nice to people. Be kind to people. Kindness doesn't cost anything. Think about the thing you want to say. If you know it's not going to come out, we just zip.
And Esther, please quickly add to the 30 seconds. What I tell people is, anyone who would summon the courage to go begging, forget whether it's fake or real.
The person has gotten to that point where
give.
Just give.
It doesn't matter whether the person is fake.
Yeah.
That you could summon courage as a full-grown man.
That is all.
It's a lot. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Adenike. Thank you, Ibinabo. Do have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. All right. You want to join us again on Panorama tomorrow at 9:05, where ladies from different geopolitical zones come together to discuss, dissect, and disagree on topical issues. My name is Esther Alarabe. Good morning.
To sponsor this program, call the number 0816 480 7613.
Uncle Dentist, what are cavities and how does Colgate protect my teeth from cavities?